So here we go. Y'all ready?
All right. Ready.
Cheers.
Yeah.
No,
Cheers. I told Tamika just to get some water and just take the phone because, oh my goodness. All right. Do you want to start off with the first question, Shaniqua?
Okay,
For
so
Tamika?
yes, where's my oh here it is. My phone. All right. Hold on, just give me a minute. I had it up and then I got distracted with good conversation.
Ah, it's all good. I got mine right here. I can throw it out one out there to her.
Yeah, go ahead. You could do the
If you
first one.
want.
Yes.
So I'm at a place now where I do have, a little savings, Miss Tamika, and I have some investments as well, like some minor starter investments. But I get confused. Should I have a savings or should I have investments? Like, when do you know when it's okay to dip in your savings to have investments or, vice versa?
Yep. So I think it's important when you're thinking about savings, especially now with everything that's going on, you want to have at least 6 months worth of your living expenses for savings. And that is, if you lose your job or if you have medical expenses that you have to all of a sudden deal with, you have that and you don't have to worry about having to get extra income to cover those bills. I used to tell people have 3 to 6 months, but now with everything that's going on, if you can, try to get 9 to 12 months worth of
Okay.
savings. And I would say do that first before you invest. And once you're at a place where you're comfortable that you have enough savings to cover your living expenses for between 6 and 12 months, then I would think about then using additional funds to invest. And if you're not an investment guru, go with an agency or invest in mutual funds. I often use Ellevest, and it's ELLEBEST, and it's a women-owned company, and they've been doing really well with my investments. Even during this time, I lost a little bit, but I think that's across the board. But I do what I can to support women-owned businesses. So
Okay.
that's a real easy one to invest. You put what your goals are, and they match it up to funds that are in line with your goal, if it's short-term or long-term, and the risk that you're willing to take.
Okay. Is it an app or is it like a website?
It's a website, but they have an app as well, and I can
Okay.
give you that information to put in the notes too.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would definitely say focus on that saving for living expenses first.
Gotcha. Super smart. Thank you.
Okay, so my question, if you're not able to budget more than what you have, how can you plan? Because that's a good question. A lot of people say, well, I can't really afford to really budget when I'm budgeting, so to speak.
Gotcha. So basically, if your expenses outweigh your income, how can you
Exactly.
plan? So
Yes.
yeah. So first, you need to figure out where you're spending your money, and you'll be surprised at some of the little things that your money goes to, like getting coffee out, eating lunch out, all those little expenses that one could cut back on, and that'll give you that extra discretionary income. The other thing I always tell people to look at is look at your utility bills to see where you can cut. A lot of us get cable and it's the full package in the beginning. They give it to you at a discount, and over time you see it creeping up. Call those cable companies or call your vendors and see if you could negotiate a lower rate per month, and that'll give you more money per month. Another thing I like to do is if you can't afford it, get rid of it. You don't need cable. You may need the internet. Of course, everyone needs the internet these days, but you might not need cable. You could cut back on your phone bill. Like, do you need a total package? You can get a smaller package. And I think the biggest thing you have to think of is just what sacrifices can you make in the short term to get your living expenses in line with your income. Grocery shopping, stop buying name brand, do store brand, use coupons. There are several apps that I use when I go grocery shopping, and I think one of them is called Ibotta, IBOTTA. And you pick the store that you're going to go to, and you click on the coupons, and it often is linked to your value card or your ID for that store. And when I buy the products, the money automatically goes to that app. And then once I reach like $20, you can draft it into your bank account. And so that's like a no-brainer. And you can use that with manufacturer coupons as well as store coupons.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I rack up at CVS. CVS is like the best place to shop.
Okay.
The counter and have like $200 worth of stuff and come out there paying like $30. If you
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm telling you, I can give you lots of tips on that. But those are ways to cut savings. And if you cut everything down to the bare bones and you don't have anywhere else to cut, the next thing I would think about is what income can you get in addition to what you're making? Can you do a side gig, a side hustle, pick up some extra hours on a part-time job, or you can pick up extra hours in your current job just to get that extra income coming in where you can pay down some debt. And so then you'll have more money in your income each month to get your budget in balance.
Gotcha.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, Kiba, we have some questions for you. So I'll start. Let's see. All right, so this question is so cool because it gives your kids a boost, or I know it could possibly give your kids a boost. So while you're working on yourself and your credit, you could potentially be helping your kids as well. So Kiba, is it true that you can add your child to a credit card and give them a head start on good credit?
Yes, can you hear me? Because my internet is delaying. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, you can add to your credit cards or to your accounts. You do have to check to see what the age, because some can start as young as 13, 16. Some you have to wait to 18. So it is definitely a plus if you add your kids onto your credit as a user. And of course, when you pass them that card, you have to explain to them the responsibility of that thing with it. They can't just go and swipe and swipe and swipe like they think we see. They see us do it. But it's very important. And adding them to our account, it starts their credit history, and it starts it at a point where when they get of age and they start applying for student loans or a car, they've already built up enough history. So these creditors will know, oh, okay, well, I see you have some credit. You're not starting, at a low score. So it starts that at an early age, and it teaches them responsibility.
Cool. Thank you.
Definitely.
So my question is the power of credit. I think a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, but the younger generation and some older folks don't understand the power of credit. I think they feel like they can just, I don't know, kind of finagle their way through without really understanding like right now, where should you be credit wise in order to, like, say you want to buy a home, you want to, buy a car, the understanding of the power of credit, knowing what you have so you can invest and make more.
Yeah. It is. We're at the age now where we are buying homes. At first we were just buying a car, or maybe we were getting a cell phone. And it starts that young. So when we start young and we get to the age where we're ready to buy a car, a house, an apartment, our credit is so important. So I think of it as a walking business card, because when you're going to a creditor and you're asking them, hey, can you lend me some money so that I can buy a house? And they see your report and it's at a low score, you're not going to get the best rate. You're not going to get the amount of money that you're going to need for this house. You may want a house at a certain income level, but your score is not showing that. So it'll drop you down to a different area you might not like or desire to live in, because it comes with so many, with so many other things we can talk about. But think of it as a walking business card, because if your score reflects how professional you are in a manner where creditors would want to loan money to you, and gives you leverage.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Tamika, coming back to you. So let's see here. Where's my other question? Okay, so can you explain what a 401k is, and is that an investment?
Yep. Okay. So a 401k is an investment, but it's a retirement investment. So it's not something that you're going to want to put money in to pull out in the short term. It's basically there to provide income to you in your retirement age, which now I think is like 65 and a half, I believe. And there are real strong penalties around pulling money out of that retirement account early. And a lot of times you have to pay taxes on it, whatever your tax rate is, and then you have to pay an additional 10% penalty. So you're basically giving the IRS money because you took your retirement income out early. So a lot of jobs will offer 401ks where they'll match. Like if you put in $1, they'll match a certain percentage of that dollar. But you also can set up other types of retirement accounts on your own if you're a sole proprietor. It's definitely an investment. I would say if you have your savings, to a point, that 6 to 12 month range that we talked about, and you have, you started investing on your own, I will put as much of your money into your 401k as at least that the company will match, because that's free money. So if you put in $1 and they say they'll match 100% of that dollar, for every dollar you put in, they put $1 in, and that's money that you didn't have to work for.
Okay. All right. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. What if your company doesn't match
Yes.
your investment?
So if
if
they don't match, it's still a good investment for retirement. Just because Social Security is not guaranteed to be around when we reach retirement age. So it's always smart to put money away for retirement, unless you just want to work until your last breath, which I don't. You'll get, a rate of return on that, which is still money, that your dollar that you put in is earning. But a lot of times companies will match some, do a smaller percentage, but some companies out there would do a larger percentage. So is their incentive to get you to save for retirement?
Okay.
Let's see. I guess what's a good savings? How do you create your budget? Like, what's a good way to sit there and as far as your expenses, being able to accommodate, because, a lot of people, their plan is to, invest in themselves. They would like to invest in themselves, make sure that they are able to still live the lifestyle that they're living while as they're working. Because, when you retire, things go up, and, your income of what was when you were working is not the same when you retire. And I don't think people realize that as well. So how would you go about, just because I know a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. It's a lot of stuff. I'm kind of in debt. Like, how do I even get started? Like, I'm having anxiety, because that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I work with, I think sitting down and going through it in an organized fashion is what overwhelms people. So they see all the numbers and they think that, it has to do with spreadsheets or whatever, and that's overwhelming. But I like to teach people how to do it paycheck by paycheck, because I think if you try to budget for the month, and then you're trying to track, well, how much do I pay with this paycheck? And I still got all these things I have to pay, as overwhelming. Right. So I tell people, when you get your paycheck in, you budget just for that paycheck. So what bills are due before your next paycheck comes in? How much do you want to spend a week on groceries? How much do you want to spend a week on gas? And a lot of people get paid every 2 weeks. And so you will look at that in a 2-week time frame. And then when you get to the end of that 2 weeks, do you have any cash left over? Like, did you spend less in groceries than you thought? Did you spend less in gas or whatever? And then you take that amount and you put it to the next pay period's budget. So then when you get to the end of that month or that last paycheck, if you have extra, then that goes to your savings, or it goes, if you have a goal, like a vacation goal, or, you're saving to buy a house or saving to buy a car, you put that money away in a separate account for that goal. Once you get to a point where your income each month is definitely more than your expenses that are going out, and you've gotten to like a very disciplined place, then I always say, take money out for yourself first. I do that right off the top. I have money go directly into my savings. I have an amount go directly to LVest for investing, and I don't even see that. So the net that I get in my bank account for that paycheck is what I budget out for my expenses for that month. And I always tell people, take care of your 4 walls first. Make sure you paid your mortgage, your utilities like lights, water, trash, food. And then once that's paid, then you decide how much do you have to pay things like credit card debt. And of course, you want to have a good credit score, but it won't benefit you to not have any food or to lose your car, and that'll just create a lot of other issues that then will put you further in debt, or put you further in an emergency situation.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Tamika, do you feel that it's beneficial to have like a spreadsheet or a worksheet to work off, weekly or monthly when you're budgeting?
Yeah, so I like to use a spreadsheet, but that's because I'm an accountant by nature and I use spreadsheets all the time. But I have a lot of clients who don't like to use spreadsheets and they rather do everything by hand. So I have worksheets that you can actually just sit down and, write it out by hand, and it's very simple and straightforward. And, you have your income coming in, whatever you have in your bank account, you subtract out everything that you pay, and then at the bottom is what you have left. But for me, it's easier for me to do spreadsheets just because I have formulas and I have, it link into other tabs where I have things that I know I want to save for. And I like to color code a lot of my sales. Red if I knew I shouldn't have bought it. And but yeah, whichever way is more comfortable for you, you can do it either way, and they both accomplish the same goal.
Cool. I'm just gonna jump in. We are live, and I want to make sure we're paying attention to the little comments that's coming in, as well as our conversation. So we have a couple of folks checking us out right now. So we wanted to give a shout out to Jessica and say, hey, Jessica is in Tampa, Florida. She actually owns a school, a lash school. So she is also one of our JourneyRight Mommas, and Sydney Owens. She's on. Sydney's on. She's a new mama.
Hi, Sydney.
Tamika,
she is so enlightening. So she really enjoyed your responses.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right. Hey, Kiba. I can't believe I'm on with Kiba. Kiba, I moved from Brooklyn to Chesterfield, and I know, Virginia, I'm not gonna act like I know, but to be a teenager and to go from Brooklyn to Manchester, and I'm walking and like all the girls is like screwballing me and looking at me crazy, and I walk into this random computer class, and Kiba like, we have a swivel chair, so I don't know how she turned around so quick. I just remember her turning around and just looking at me, and I just looked at her, and it was just like, I guess it was love at first sight. We were friends until the end. Yes.
Yeah. And look how funny now she's in Brooklyn.
Yes. Yes. She's originally from New York, but now she's back in New York, and everything is good.
Ready to get out.
Yes. I can't wait until our retreat. I hope we can all meet up in person soon.
That'll be awesome. Oh, I have a question for Kiva.
Okay.
Student loan debt. I know that's something that a lot of people I know, and I've seen, I am a follower of Kiva. I saw you on your Instagram, you're promoting how you can take care of student debt. And I know that's something that's really big. And going on now, just with everything that's going on, people are like, okay, what's going to go on with my student loans? Like, I don't want this to mess me up in the long run as far as incurring interest and things of that nature. So.
Student loan is something that we all have to face, of course. And as long as you make the payments, you're fine. You can defer your payments now, but you have to contact your creditor. You have to stay in touch with them, because they'll be quick to put you in collections, or to start making some points on your credit. So you have to. I can help you with that, of course, off the line, but we can definitely help you with that. So it's very important to make the payments, but it's just also important to stay in touch with them.
I get a lot of questions about that. I get a lot of questions about that, just because everyone's just like, well, how long can you defer a loan? And I said, well, it depends. I'm assuming it depends on the creditor and what they allow and their regulations as far as deferring loans and things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, y'all. I've deferred my student loan for so many years. Like, I don't even know. I'm just like, when do I pay this? Like, I just got a letter saying, okay, Toya, like, you got to pay this now. But you can wait till September now. So I think it's like September 30th. And then after 20 years, I get this.
No, call them.
Crazy.
Call them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But, I guess you got to do what you have to do,
Yeah. So deferring is a possibility, but it does come with some penalty. So you just got to weigh your situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. It does.
Definitely.
Exactly.
All right, Kiva. So I'm so addicted to Credit Karma. Like I be checking it every day. That thing do not update every day. And I be checking Credit Karma every day. Like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? Like, what is the best, way to track your credit score, and which company is the most accurate?
Credit Karma is not. And a lot of us, I don't know if it's the name that is so popular now, but Credit Karma is not the most accurate way. I use Smart Credit on my side of the business, and I can access it from my phone, and I can see my score anytime I want. I can also they can on the app, it will project if I pay down this amount of debt, what will my score look like. It also provides a rating that lenders and employment uses all of the app that we use for Smart Credit. You can go to myfico.com and see your credit score, but Credit Karma is not the most accurate one. I hate to be the bad news bear, but it's not.
It's okay, because when I look at Credit Karma and then I go to the bank and I'm happily surprised, but it's a little bit higher. I know it could be a little lower in some cases. Smart Credit, is there a fee to check your credit through Smart Credit?
Yes, there is a fee for that, but it comes with a whole host of other things. So it's not just Smart Credit. You get a whole bunch of other things that come with it also.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
I think. Let's see if I have. Oh, my FICO is that something similar to Smart Credit as far as having to pay a fee, or you don't know?
Smart Credit will just give you, just give you a score. It won't give you anything else.
Okay.
Yeah. And creating that budget also does help. So you can see, like I said, if you pay down this debt, what will my score? So it gives you an incentive to see, okay, well, I got this debt. Let me see if I put a little 5,000 down, how much my score will go up.
Right.
If I don't pay that debt, how much
You're right.
Which that's very important too, especially if you're trying to build, even just building your credit, not even buying anything, just trying to build to get you at that. I do have a question about building. What are I know people talk about certain letters that you can send to creditors and you can get, certain things off of your credit or removed. I guess, can you kind of explain? Because I think people get confused that, you don't, if it's actually your debt, you don't have to pay it. You just have keep sending these letters and it'll disappear miraculously. But obviously you would have to, if it's, you'd have to pay it and take care of it. And so there is a right way to do it. So I guess, can you explain, the difference of, how to take care of that?
Yeah, my team, we work with going back and forth and negotiating deals with these creditors on a one-on-one basis. We do, of course, work with TransUnion, Experian, and the other score that is not Experian. There it is. That we can also, we do work with you and clients getting all of that stuff worked on and negotiated, because not all debt has to be paid too, and sometimes we think, oh, I got this bill. No, we can negotiate that, because we can work.
Especially medical bills. I think that's something that it's hard, because a lot of people don't have really good medical insurance, so it doesn't really cover a lot. And if you have a big family and you're doctor visits and that stuff adds up, and then of course when you're budgeting, it's kind of like lights, medical bill,
Yeah.
and then it just piles up, and it brings your credit score down. So
yeah,
It
definitely
does, and it does affect those scores.
Yeah. Cool. I had a medical bill that destroyed my credit a few years ago. They lied. They didn't tell me when I went to go have the little, procedure. They were like, "Oh, you don't have to pay anything." And then I got like this $3,000-$4,000 bill later on from all these different places, anesthesia. I was just like, "Oh my God!" But I don't know what happened. I tried to negotiate on my own behalf, and I guess it just kind of, I don't know where it went, to be quite honest with you. It's not on my credit score or anything, but I guess just communicating with them and letting them know your situation can sometimes I don't know what happened. How when you negotiate, what are you able to negotiate? Like paying half of it, or not being responsible at all, or
It varies. Everyone is different, so it would vary based off of the circumstance. We could be on the phone for all day trying to different different scenarios.
Right.
It varies on a one-on-one. Yeah.
Oh,
Case by
that's
case.
cool. We appreciate y'all fighting.
Yes.
Yeah. Telling you, credit score is
But we don't
important.
know. That's the crazy thing is we don't know this information, and that's my goal, is because we're all at this age now, and this is something that's just not, we don't speak about it, and we just pretty much just figure it out when we figure it out. So even with accounting and writing it down on a spreadsheet and seeing how much you have left, that is something people don't do. They just wing it.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
I feel like all the memes you see where you're like, oh, they got $1,298 after the last little 98 cents, then they got the stimulus check, Come on, y'all gotta budget them.
Yeah.
Aw, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Tamika, I personally have one last question for you.
Okay.
When is it best to cash out stock investments? So I am currently investing through, what is this thing called? Robinhood. And I'm gonna look into Elvest, but right now I'm on Robinhood. And I check that like I check Credit Karma. Like every day. I'm just looking at it, I'm seeing what's happening. I tell Shaniqua, I'm like, oh my God, I lost $30. And then the next day I'm like, God, I got some $20. Like it's back and forth, and it's crazy. And I only been doing it for maybe like few weeks, and I don't need to pull the money out, but when I see it, go up and I have some gains, I'm like, what's your feedback there? Do you keep it there and let it do its thing?
So I think it depends on what your goal is for investing. So if you're investing for a long-term goal, then you definitely don't want to pull it out when you see gains, like short-term gains, because it has been proven that over time, the longer you leave stocks in, as long as the companies are good companies and they don't go bankrupt or anything like that, you actually make more money over time. However, if you are in, say, if you're in like a high-risk stock mutual fund, and you are in it because you know that that's going to make money faster because it's high risk, or it can lose money faster too. It depends on your risk comfort level. But if you're saving that money like to buy a house or to take a big vacation, then once you get to that point where you've met that money goal, then I would suggest taking it out then if you're not investing for the long term. But another thing you want to consider when you take money out once it's gain a lot of money, talk to your tax advisor, because you only can, when you pay a different gain on that capital gain on the taxes, and you only can deduct certain losses against those gains. So you could get into the situation where you're paying a higher tax rate on that money that you took out. So you just want to make sure you talk to your tax advisor before you pull that money out. But overall, just think about the goal of why you put that money in there. If it's in there for retirement or in there for send your kids to college, you don't want to keep pulling it out and put it in. That's how you can lose money faster. But if you're doing it for a shorter term goal, pick the right stock mix or the right stock that is that benefits that goal, and then pull it out once you get to that point where you're ready to buy that house or take that trip.
Okay.
That's cool.
Thank you.
I do have one more question for you. When you talked about advisors, would you recommend having an advisor to kind of help you through investments and I guess planning for retirement and college fund, things of that nature?
I think it depends on your comfort level with investing. If you are, real risk adverse and you are definitely saving that money for something important, I think it's, commendable to use an advisor, especially a reputable one, and one that doesn't charge a lot of fees, because you don't want to pay all of your gains and fees. But if you're just, investing, just kind of on the side, or for, goals that aren't like sending your kids to college or, long-term retirement, then I would say, try it on your own. Use some of these companies that use a group of advisors that pick mutual funds that are in your certain risk tolerance. And I would just go with that. But if it's something serious, I would say partner with an advisor, because you don't want to make a multi-million-dollar mistake,
Right.
trying to manage that money on your own.
Yes, most
You know.
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Tamika. I don't have any more questions for Tamika. Do you, Toya? Or Tamika?
No, I mean, we might come up with something. Hang with us, Tamika. Though we're gonna hit up
Okay.
Kiva with a couple more questions, and then we'll get ready to wrap it up. But this has been amazing.
Yes.
I'm getting hearts. I'm getting likes. We'll be able to share this. This is really, really good information, free information that can definitely help our viewers, supporters, friends, and families. So super cool. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. Let's see here. All right, for Kiva. How does credit consolidation help you build your credit?
That's good.
Excuse me. You don't want to have too much debt out there, because it will still look like you're at risk. It'll look like you're in trouble. Looks like if you're applying for all these credit cards, it looks like you're desperate. So you do not want to have that much credit out there. Consolidating definitely does help, because you can get a bulk of your debt into one instead of 10 or however many you have, and you can get a lower interest rate.
Right.
So you definitely want to consolidate it, and so it doesn't look so risky, because once again, when you go to apply for whatever it is, you don't want to look like you're a risk. So if you have 10 and you consolidate it down to 1 or 2, that's good. You just don't want to have a lot of revolving debt, because that'll look like that spreadsheet with different lines coming out. You got 10 different accounts coming out.
All the colors, all the due dates.
You don't want to have a colorful spreadsheet.
Ooh, colorful. What's the rainbow?
A project manager's nightmare, or accountant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Look, I get, just growing up, I would get like a lot of offers from a lot of different weird companies, whether it was like Lending Tree or I don't know, we'll give it to you.com, like what's the best? What is the best, company to go with when you're consolidating? Should you go with your bank or?
Whoever's giving you the best rate. Some of them will offer no interest for 12 months. So, you would want to take advantage of that, so you can consolidate it down to there. I can't give you one off the top of my head, because there's many of them, but anyone that's going to give you the best rate, and if it is no interest for a year, you definitely want to take advantage of that, because you can consolidate however many, into that one. And that'll save you money, so that'll go into your extra income that you have to invest or to save, or to get your hair done, so whatever it is that you want, so you just have to consolidate. A lot of gel on here right now.
I just put this color here. Y'all couldn't see me before I put this color in here. I was like, I'm good. We can do the live chat now, girl.
Well, Tamika knows I always have a hat on. She's like, "Girl, I don't think I ever met you without a hat on." I'm like,
first time I saw her, I was like, "What?"
I know. When I had my hair done. She was like, "Girl, you look like a whole new person."
Exactly.
Oh, did you have another question, Shaniqua, for Kiba?
No, I think you answered all of my questions that I had. I think Toya and I had the similar. Our questions kind of intertwined. So as you answered her questions, you kind of answered mine as well. So I think the biggest one was the power of credit. I think is a good one for everyone. Just even teaching your children. And that's something. That's one last question. I guess. How can you teach your kids the importance and show them? I know saving is one. Teaching them how to save, but especially when they start working. Because when they start working, they're like, I got my own money. I'm gonna be buying my sneakers. I'm gonna do this, and they're like, I got time to save later, and I don't think they understand. So what kind of advice would you give? That high school at 16, just starting out.
Me or Kiba?
Kiva.
Kiba.
I'm sorry. Did I say Tamika? Sorry.
Oh, no, I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You want me to?
Yes, yes.
When I teach my daughter is you split your money in 3 ways: checking, savings, and rainy day. And she's only, how old is she? She'll be 13. There's 3 accounts. So yeah, you got $20, but you need to break it up, because you need to always save for rainy day. And you do not spend all of your money at one time, because you have to build that savings account and you have to build that rainy day fund, because you're going to need that money. And I'm not sure rainy day fund. So you have to start those habits early, because if they're not,
it's important,
repeated or they're not continued, then you just get lost.
Yes.
They're not important at all. Yeah. So that's how I teach her, and that's how I work. Going on my own. No one taught me, but I always had a ring, and I couldn't go to everybody and ask for money. I was too proud, but I made sure that I couldn't, unless it was a dire emergency. I always had an extra stream of income, and teaching my daughter the lemonade stand at the block party. She's right out there. She gets to play first thing, but in the middle of the day, she goes and she does her lemonade stand. So teaching them that there's ways you can make money too, and not just one stream of income, is definitely something that needs to be taught early on, up until we retire, because you have to set up that rainy day.
Definitely. I mean, that's one of the things I tell my kids too, is to have more than one source. Nowadays, you can't have just one source, and I'm seeing the importance of investing in yourself, and I think I read something somewhere. It says, build something for your kids when they get out of college to go and work for, instead of having them to go beg for a job somewhere else. A lot of different cultures, by the time their kids get out of college, they have that investment property, or they're taking over a business, or they're walking into something. And, unfortunately, a lot of us weren't updated on things, and so our kids are walking into debt, and so they're coming out struggling already. They don't even have a chance. And I think that's what's important right now, is that we focus on that and make sure, because it's getting harder and harder out here, and we want them to be able to sustain and be able to enjoy life and not have a struggle. So
absolutely.
And what they see on TV doesn't necessarily reflect what goes in your pockets. So you can't live like the Kardashians.
Exactly.
You cannot live on chains. You can't get those sneakers. You don't have enough money.
Yeah.
You can't get that trip.
Right.
So they need to learn early. They need to learn.
Yes.
So
absolutely. Ladies, we're at I think 52 minutes. We did so good. I could stay on here longer. Shaniqua knows I'm ready to talk about our kids and tell y'all stories about my daughter. Oh man, and I could go on and on and on. But I don't, it's late. I know we all are moms, and we've had a busy week. It's Friday night. Let's try to do something to chill and relax. Do we even have a weekend? Like Kiba, you posted, it's just day. Like it ain't even Monday. It's just this day.
Exactly.
What day is it? Yeah, look at my phone.
Look, we alive. Yeah, it's time to get some coffee and we good. Yes. But thank you guys. Yeah. Thank y'all so much.
Yes.
What I'm gonna do for our viewers, I'm gonna get everybody's contact information, their public contact information, their business contact information, so you guys can reach out to them if you have additional questions or comments. And we really appreciate it. Like this was awesome.
This was awesome. It actually went really well.
It went really well.
Our first successful live podcast. And
yes. Like all the celebrities are doing like lives and podcasts, and they are awful at it. Like we're waiting for P. Diddy for like an hour to start his dance-a-thon. Like Diddy, you're a billionaire.
But I do want to ask this one question to you, ladies, since we're talking